everyone, it's Nina. Thanks so much for joining me today. I have been getting into using Bombay India inks from PH Martin, and I really enjoyed using these in some different projects that I've shared lately. I'll have details of those projects over at my blog if you want to go ahead and check those out. But I wanted to be able to share the tips and tricks that I have for organizing my PH Martin India inks. After some playing around, I found a really great method for how I love to be able to store these. And I wanted to make sure to share this with you in case you have these products or you're interested in getting them and want to be able to find a good way to be able to use your India inks to the best of their ability and to organize them in a way that will work for you. So here's a look at the PH Martin India inks. There are two different sets of these India inks. There are a total of 24 different colors. I have both sets and I find that using all of them together works really well. Now, bear in mind, India inks are not the same thing as a true watercolor, but they can be used as a watercolor, which is how I use them. And I find that they're really amazing to use as a watercolor because they're very strong, pigmented colors. So you get some really bright, vibrant effects and some really cool properties with these that you don't get with regular watercolors, such as that they're permanent. So once they've dried, they won't come off and they won't reactivate with water. So whereas a regular watercolor would. Now, the way I like to store these instead of in the original bottles that they come in is I like the eyeglass dropper bottles, and these are very similar to a Distress Ink refill bottle. If any of you have those, you can get a batch of these over on Amazon.com, which I'll have a link to in the video description or also on my blog. But I find these are really helpful for storing my India inks because it keeps them sealed tight, but removing the color from the India ink bottles is so much easier with the eyedropper because you're not having to pour the open mouth of the original bottles into a palette and end up having too much. You can control the amount that you're getting out of these eyedroppers so much easier. So here's a look at the eyedropper bottles. These are half-ounce bottles. The PH Martin India inks come in about the same size bottle, but they're open mouth. So whereas this one here has the eyedropper, you can see as I open up the PH Martin bottle, it's wide open. So it's really hard to be able to control how much you're getting out of these India inks. And I like being able to have these eyedroppers instead. So what I do is I just refill from the original PH Martin bottle, and if there's any left over, I just go ahead and save that little bottle and label it because I do take the label off of the original bottles. I find that the labels come off super easy and I can reattach them down onto my glass bottles. If they don't come off, you can always create your own label with a label maker. So I'll just go ahead and lay this bottle down, and I like to keep a rag underneath just in case I have any leaks, but I found that these bottles have not leaked at all. So I'm really happy with these glass eyedropper bottles. So I'll go ahead and apply that label back onto the bottle. And like I said, I'll rename that original bottle with the color that I poured out of it into the eyedropper bottle. So then I can go ahead and reuse these glass eyedropper bottles over and over again as I need to refill the India inks. I can go ahead and pour it right into this bottle that I already have with the label and everything, and I can continue working from these particular bottles. I do have a few extras on hand in case one breaks or if I ever need to replace one, but I have really loved this method and I find that it's so much easier to store them as well, and I can see what's inside. It's just a really great method. Now, to organize these as far as knowing what colors I have, I've created ink swatches, and I have this as a download available on my blog, so you can go ahead and check it out. To create my ink swatches, I find I like being able to drop one drop of color from the India inks onto my little swatches, and then I go ahead and blend it out with my water brush because I usually use these for watercolor, so I want to be able to see what it looks like as it's blended with water. You can, of course, use these in other different ways. I've heard that calligraphy is another method that is really popular to use with these India inks. I don't do much calligraphy and I don't have any calligraphy pens, but I've heard great things about using these India inks with the calligraphy pens. So I just go ahead and blend those out, and when they're dry, I put them into coin page protectors, and that allows me to have a great color chart that I can go ahead and use for making sure I have the correct colors that I need when I'm creating a project. Again, I have this ink swatch download over at my blog, so you can go ahead and check that out. The link is in the video description or also on my blog. Now, storing. I love using this rack, which is actually meant for nail polish, but I use it for storing my India inks on it. And I'll go ahead and show you here. This is what it looks like on my shelf in my craft studio. I have them all lined up in color order, and I have all those bright, beautiful labels, and I can see what's inside each jar because I've got those nice clear glass bottles. This has been so much handier, and having them organized like this has really helped me in being able to use these and get the most out of my India inks. So I hope this video has given you some tips and ideas for organizing your India inks, but also liquid watercolors of any type would fit perfectly with this method that I've showed here of using the glass eyedropper bottles and creating the swatches. So even if you don't have the India inks, some of the techniques that I've shown here and ideas will actually help you in other products as well. So I hope somewhere along the lines you were able to get some inspiration for using it in your own craft room. If you're interested in the India inks, I do have those linked in the video description or also on my blog, as well as detailed information about the India inks on my blog as well. So make sure you head on over there to check that out. If you enjoyed this video, here are 2 more videos that feature India inks from PH Martin. Please give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will see you again very soon in another video. Bye!